Hello everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. I'm just taking the front rails off this bed because make it a bit easier to get at, because I'm going to be sowing seeds into this bed now for this next season and going into winter. And I'm just going to sow little lines going across all the way up this bed and fill it with seeds, and then whatever comes, and we'll deal with that later when that arrives. But for now I just want to get as many seeds blasted in as possible. This bed has been raked down to a fine tilth and raked level, and I've got my trusty little stick and my trusty little dibber, and I'm just going to draw a drill across. And the first one I'm sowing, the lucky seed, is broccoli, and this is an autumn calabrese. There's not many seeds in this packet, so I'll probably just get the one row out of this whole packet. And I'm aiming, because I'm sowing these slightly late, really want to be sowing these in June. I'll be hoping to grow these on in one of the tunnels. So, nice little label at the end, and then we just move on to the next one. Again, draw another drill, and the next two I've got, they're two purple sprouting broccolis, but two different types. This is just your standard or generic. If I can open the packet, these are just your standard or generic purple sprouting broccolis. And as we're here now, I saw Tony put a video up yesterday and he was trying the palm sowing like many of you have seen me do before, so I thought I'd give you a little demonstration of it. It's not a pro technique, it's just a technique, and all it is you hold your hand like this, and as you close it, you've got this life, you know, not that's your lifeline, isn't it, but you've got this fold of skin that holds, and this holds the seeds back. So you put some into the palm of your hand, hold your hand up, and the seeds don't come out. Release them and they start to fall out, and that's all it is. And the waggling of the fingers is to stop a whole stream or all of them coming out all at once. It just means you remain in control. And hold your hand level. Don't hold them up like that, they'll all start falling out. But that's all it is to it. There's not a professional technique, but anyone can do it, just practice. And it's just a handy little useful trick. So that's broccoli, purple sprouting in that one. I'll just move on a little bit and draw another drill. And this one is broccoli Rudolph. I'm not actually sure if I've ever grown this to maturity or not. I might have grown it as seedlings, but I don't think I've ever had the plants out, so I don't know much about this one. But in she goes anyway. Again, palm sowing. And I'm watching the soil when I do this, I'm not watching the palm of my hand. So that's broccoli Rudolph. So you can see already it's very quick to sow seeds into direct ground if you've got the space to do it, and that's key. And I think most people can make a few foot of bed space, especially at this time of year with crops coming out, and start blasting some seeds in. So I've added another row and I've put in a Durham early cabbage and a row of cauliflowers, and that variety is Igloo. And I'm now sowing rainbow chard. Now, I love this stuff, really do. And it's a great winter staple, and it will grow. It grows better indoors, admittedly, so if you've got an undercover space or a cloche, you might want to choose to do that, or a cold frame. I dare say further down south in the country or elsewhere in warmer climes, you might get it to grow outside through winter well enough. But what I did find, especially last year, which I'd never really noticed before, I've come in with, after a cold night, into the polytunnel in the morning and found my chard plants kind of limp, just sort of bowed over as opposed to upright and perky. And they've come through that, and I thought, oh, I was lucky there. But last year, I think it was in January, my chard plants in my other tunnel, my big tunnel, they got absolutely annihilated by frost. And they were flat on the ground, completely limp. But they came back. They came back, and we still ate off them later in the season. So, what a fantastic plant. So, that's rainbow chard in that one as well. Here we go. Right, the next four are of the Chinese varieties. Very hardy, you can grow them through the winter. And the first one is just a pak choi with a white stem. It's a cabbage that will can grow up to about 12 inches tall. But on average, they're about 8 to 10 inches, a little bit smaller. Depends how good the growing season is. But these are a great stir-fry veg. You just wilt them in a bit of steam or scare them in a pan with a bit of butter. And they're done, you know. They really are good. I think some people actually eat them as a lettuce. I mean, it's not something I personally do. But yeah, you can do that if you wish. And this is a pak choi red. So this just adds, there's no difference I think in the flavours. It's just variation in the colour on the plate. And as I was told when I was learning how to cook, when I became a chef, people eat with their eyes. So if a plate looks appealing, it tastes appealing, it's always a good start. So there's the two pak chois, white and red stem. And then I've got one of the mustards. I haven't got all the seeds that I want. Last year I grew one called Red Streaks, and it was so bitter. Now, I don't mind bitter, but I like to know what I'm eating in the food that I'm eating. So if I mix some mustard leaves with a salad, with a stir fry, I want to be able to taste the other ingredients in there. That's just something that comes back from my catering days when I was a chef, as I say. You know, you don't overbalance or overpower everything with one ingredient. You balance them together to get a nice meal. Well, this thing, no matter what I did with it, the bitterness was still there. And that was all that was there. It was a bitterness, it wasn't a flavour. So I won't be growing Red Streaks again. But this one, this is mustard. Now it's a bit of a mouthful, this, in both ways. Komatsuna Tender Green. Now, as the long name suggests, they're really long leaves. The leaves were something like this. And after eating it, I considered it to be akin to spinach. So for those people who like spinach, this Komatsuna Tender Green is definitely a good option. Long green leaves, and I just took the green part off the stem, chopped the stem, same as I do with chard, chop the stem up, fry that for a couple of minutes or salt it in some butter or some chicken stock or whatever you want to do with it. And then at the last second, throw the leaves in, toss it a couple of times, serve it, and that is beautiful. Really, really nice. So we'll have some more of that this year. And next we come to my nemesis. Dun, dun, dun. Now, these are Wong Bok. These are Chinese cabbage, and they grow sort of big and ovate. And if you can grow them, that is, they're my nemesis, because I love them. I love to hate them, to be honest. I love to eat them, but I can never seem to grow them. I've just had problems after problems with these. But last year I did the best I'd ever done with them, and I'd managed to get them to a decent size, and they were started to heart up before they all died on me. So I've got close with them last year. This year will be the year, and I've got a slightly different method to, when it comes to planting them out and growing them. I've got a slightly different method to last year. They'll be grown under protection in the polytunnel, and hopefully fingers crossed and everything else, these will work this year. But that's cabbage Wongbok. Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. So there we go, there's a couple of Chinese varieties, 2 pak choys, white and red stem, the common Suna tender greens and the Wongbok cabbage. And I have got some more mustards on the way. Yeah, but I can sow them later. Now I've come up the other end of this bed because up here I want to sow something which will stay in this bed as is, and what I'll do is, as they germinate, I will thin them out and I will move the thinnings hopefully to other areas. But this is a spinach, and it's a giant winter variety. I was very pleased with this last year. So yeah, growing it again, and I'm just going to bang in 2 or 3 rows, maybe 4. So to say, because this will be a patch of spinach. Yeah, so I'll probably do 4. There's 2. And the reason I want to grow in straight rows, just in case anybody doesn't know, I know most people will, is basically because when the seeds germinate, they'll all germinate in the straight line of the drill that I've just put in. Easier to tell the weeds apart. I know most people will know that, but maybe there's 1 or 2 that doesn't. So that's 3, we'll do a 4th. Seeds are cheap, these are Premier Seeds cheap seeds, so I can't remember what this big bag cost, probably 120, 150, and I've had 1 season out of it already, so this is my 2nd season out of it, and there's probably a 3rd and 4th in there, provided the seeds last. So for £1 odd, it's done well. And then 1 label for all 4 rows. This next one, I'm going to do a similar thing with. I'm going to do 3 or 4 rows, and this one is a cultivated rocket, but it's not from Premier Seeds this time, it's from Franchi Seeds. Again, I've had these for a couple of years. Massive, great big packet, so you'll easily get 2, 3 or even 4 seasons. And this is a cultivated rocket. This is a bitter leaf, I don't mind. So I'll just fill that up, and then I'll get, say, a couple of rows. But these will all just stay in. I'm not going to prick these out. So if you're taking crops out now, consider getting some seeds and just chucking them in the ground and seeing what happens, you know. Have a play with it, hit some seeds in and get some extra crops through the winter. You may surprise yourself. Just have a go, and that's the important thing. So there we go, we'll do 3 rows of those. So that's something else sown for the winter. So this is the little area where I've just sown this spinach and the rocket all the way up to that stick, and then from there onwards it's empty until we get all the way up here where I've sown all these other items up here. So that's just the start of it really. I mean, you can see there's quite a difference. There's quite an amount of space there where I can sow more things, and I will. That area will get filled over this next week. But there's sort of 12 plants that you can get going with easily now. So it's the 10th of July today, and that's special also because today is the 21st anniversary of my 35th birthday. Yeah, birthday today, and that's just a nice way of saying today that I'm 56. But it does also mean that I can actually now officially say that I am 50 years a gardener, which is impressive. And I got my granddad to thank for that. Now, it's always been a tradition that on or just before my birthday at the start of July is when I lift my first earlies, and ordinarily, normally halfway through June, I've been sort of having a fertile in the soil, having a look around, seeing what's in there, how they're doing, and I haven't done that this year. It's the first time ever I've not done that. So this is as much a surprise to me as it will be to you. So we'll see what we've got in here. Well, the root growth looks impressive. These are Aran pilots, and at first look, these look good. So I've never actually grown this variety before, I don't think. At least I can't physically recall. If I did, it will have been many, many years ago. Long since past where my memory can remember. And these have been in since, when would they put in? The end of March as normal, so they've been in a good 3 months. I mean, it's not a bad harvest, but it's not brilliant. We'd normally expect a lot more than that. And it's funny actually, just while I'm doing this here, I'm thinking of all the other potato reveals I've seen when I watched other people emptying their buckets, and you're watching them toss the compost around in the wheelbarrow, and they're burying a potato back there, and I'm screaming at the screen saying, "You missed one, you missed one." So if you see that I've missed one, scream at the screen and I'll find it. It looks to be about it. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not impressive either. But we'll go with it. It is what it is. There's a couple of pound in there. It is a first early. As long as the second earlies bulk up a bit more and the main crop even more than that, then I'll be happy. So there we go. Aran Pilot, my first potatoes of the year on my birthday. So that's it for this one. Loads of seeds sown in the little polytunnel. First crop of first early potatoes on my birthday. I couldn't ask for better. Right, you look after yourselves, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you all very, very soon. Stay safe. See you now. Ta-ra.